Okay, here I am, soundproofing totally removed from this room, getting ready to record the April Fool's Day video, the tribute, parody, whatever you want to call it, to Ben the Looney slash Puffy Zillaman 4. Of course, in the beginning, there's going to be a disclaimer saying, oh yeah, no, this is all in good fun, I'm just, having fun, and it's true. This is kind of weird. I was a huge Ben the Looney fan back in the day, and well, now here I am, kind of recreating slash poking a little fun at him. Again, all in good fun. Okay, here we go. Well, wow, that was a voice crack. Wow. Ben doesn't sound like that. Okay, here we go. Welcome back to Trevor Rants. And when I was a kid, the phrase, I'd rather watch paint dry, was never needed. Ooh, I just had an idea, actually. Because, so the next line I'm going to be quoting here is from, oh gosh, was it the Disney Channel Part 3 or something? Basically, Ben had a problem early on where his microphone died, and it kept cutting out a lot of what he would say. And rather than redub it or record it again, he would just leave it quiet, having some kind of title screen appearing in Windows Movie Maker to say, oh yeah, by the way, at this point right here, I said blah, blah, blah. So I think I'm actually going to, in post, cut out some of what I say and just kind of leave it blank. The reason I say that is because the joke I'm about to quote or steal here, it basically disappeared. Halfway through, the sound just cuts back in and Ben just never picks it up. I always thought that was a little weird, even when I was a big fan of his, but oh well, those things are 10 years old now, so why bother to complain? It's that time again, to shave, to shear your sheep, to go outside and get the newspaper, to bang your head against a light post while constantly yelling, why? No, and possibly. Think I'm gonna try that again, it sounds a little too much like Chris McClain. It's that time again, to shave, to shear your sheep, to go outside and get the newspaper, to bang your head against a light post while constantly yelling, why? No, and possibly. Today we're going to be looking at one of the most overrated cartoons in the modern age, none other than Rick and Morty. And this is going to be fun because, in all honesty, I've seen just about as much of Rick and Morty as fake Ben here has seen. So I am totally fudging an opinion, because in all honesty, Justin Roiland aside, Rick and Morty is a pretty decent show. It's just not necessarily for me. I'll watch it, absolutely. There's just other shows I'd rather watch, But of course, fake Ben here is not really gonna like it. This just proves my point that I've been making for the last... How long have I been doing this again? Anyways, it proves that these modern adult cartoons just don't know what they're doing. It's a show about a crazy old guy named Rick and his wacky grandson named Morty, and they go on all kinds of adventures that are crazy and wild. One of the main things I don't like about this show are the characters. I don't like any of these guys. Let's start with one of the main characters, Rick Sanchez. He's like what would happen if you had Grunkle Stan be written by the Family Guy writers. He doesn't care about anybody, especially not his grandson. He's extremely violent, he's a narcissist, and he hurts people for fun. I saw this one clip online where he just shot this jelly bean guy right in the face and he exploded. Gee, Manetti! Grew so much? Okay, there's more Chris McClain coming out. I'm gonna try that again. Gee, Manetti! Grew so much? I think that was a Family Guy Ben Rants line. I think so. I did a lot of research for this one, so they all kind of blend together after you've seen so many. A good blast from the past, though. I know that he got in a lot of controversies and stuff, and now it doesn't seem like anyone watches him. But it kind of took me back to those middle school days, back when Ben was all the rage. Almost literally. But things don't get better when we see his grandson, Morty. He's just whiny and annoying. Maybe it's because of the voice, or maybe it's just because of his character. I don't know, but I just don't like him. Summer's your bratty teenage girl. And then we get the parents. Beth is an annoying stuck-up shrew, and Jerry's a man who wears a dress. Just why? And by the way, that was an infamous part of Ben Rants Cartoon Network Part 5. I remember this one in particular. It was Secret Mountain Fort Awesome, and he clearly had not seen the show. Like, at all. I will admit the show was not good, but he looked at the press release for it, not an actual episode. And you know how I know? Because the press release for Secret Mountain Fort Awesome was extremely different from what actually made it into the show. All the things about Slog wearing a dress, or the monsters eating baby souls, that never made it into the show, but Ben talks about it like it's one of the main parts of it, and that kind of tipped a lot of people off to realizing, hey, I don't think he actually watched the show. Though that's not the only reference we're gonna have to Ben Rants Cartoon Network Part 5, there's another one coming up here soon. What a great batch of characters we have, don't we? Alright, good. Good voice crack. I kind of need to hit the rhythm a little more. What a great batch of characters we have here, don't we? One more time. What a great batch of characters we have here, don't we? And then we have the episodes, and man, I could only get through 3 episodes of Rick and Morty. The show was just that bad. And so here we have the entrance of Tyler from Total Drama Island. So I don't think Ben liked Total Drama. I'm more doing this just because, this will make a little bit more sense later, but I don't want to have a lot of My Little Pony references. I'll touch a little bit more on this later, but in short, I don't really know anything about it. I've seen like 12, 13 episodes of the show, because I had some people that really wanted me to give it a shot, and I mean, it's fine. But basically, I don't want to use the brony thing too much. I don't want to overuse it, because, it's kind of been done. And also, I feel like that's a little too on the nose sometimes. Because unless you're watching this riff track behind the scenes thing, part of the fun of this video, I think, will be, for some of the longtime Ben fans, or people that might even still watch his old stuff to this day, kind of looking through this and going, hey, I remember that. Hey, I know what this is a callback to.
Hey, man, what do you think you're doing?
Oh, look. Hey, Tyler. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay, man, but I'm wondering how you're doing. Rick and Morty's got a lot of toxic fans. Just be careful, okay?
Yeah, okay. I'll be alright, trust me.
Alright, but if you need help, you just let me know, 'cause, I can take him on.
Okay, that was weird. Anyways, let's talk about the Rick and Morty episodes that I sat through. Oh, the things I do for you guys. The first episode I watched was Vindicators 3. And no, I didn't see Vindicators 1 and 2. I couldn't find them anywhere. But I don't think that I really would have wanted to see them because Vindicators 3 was awful. We get it, you're making fun of the Avengers. Please move on! In this episode, Rick and Morty help out a superhero team called the Vindicators, defeating this giant evil of some sort, and one by one they all die. Happy, isn't it? And that, my friends, is what we call improv, because I felt like this scene needed a hook. It's just violent, it's dumb, and it's so uneventful until we see... Okay, this is the weird part here. So, this is referencing the Space Jam 1 where he first sees Lola. And I normally don't talk like this, so this is going to be interesting to quote. Oh, mama. Sweet sister Christian. This is quite possibly the most unattractive thing to ever walk on a film. And some people are actually turned on by her. And Rick just shows that he's a real jerk here. Morty wants to hang out with the Vindicators, but Rick won't let him. It's all because of his own personal reasons, and because of that, Morty has to suffer. Screw that! It's bogus! This one is hard. This one's hard. This is a Puffy Zillaman 4 reference. It's probably the oldest one we're gonna get here in this video. There's this one video called Saturday Morning Cartoons where Ben Ben says not only some really worded stuff, but his voice gets really high-pitched. And even when I was a big fan, I was always like, what happened here? What? And now I have to recreate it. Here we go. Take 2.
Screw that! It's bogus if you ask me! Heck with that!
Alright, let me listen back to that real quick. Okay, yeah, that was perfect. I'm keeping that for sure. I expected that one to take me like 10 takes, and you would have had to have listened to them all. Now can you see why I don't like Rick? He's a jerk, and he ruins a lot of the show for me. I already don't like mean-spirited humor, and this guy's really driving me nuts. We see more of this in Morty's Mind Blowers. Morty's strapped down to a memory machine, and Rick shows him all kinds of terrible things, revealing that Rick has messed with Morty's life. Surprise, surprise. Man, he's even worse than Gilda! And for the record, I think I know who that is. I don't remember if I saw that episode when I gave the show a shot. It was like, what? I don't know, sophomore year of college? No, freshman year. Freshman or sophomore, one of those two. And so I kind of gave it a shot really late. But even then, it's been like 5-6 years since then. 6. So yeah, I don't really know, but like I said, I'm trying to throw in some references to stay accurate to the character. If you want to see a character be miserable for 11 minutes, then that's your thing, go right ahead. And I'm keeping that take, because sometimes he would stumble, so I gotta keep this stumble in here. It's subtle, but that's part of the fun. And now we're gonna talk about interdimensional cable, which I have not seen. I've only heard about it, so I'm gonna try to kind of do what he used to do back in his early days and fudge an opinion for something that he didn't really see much of. Finally, we had interdimensional cable. A lot like the last one, this didn't really have much of a story. It was just Rick and Morty watching TV, and then random crap happens. Let's just hope no soccer moms get a hold of those Nope. Let's just hope no soccer moms get a hold of those intergalactical... Okay. Here we go. Okay, how is this the line that's giving me trouble and that's bogus gave me 2 takes? Let's hope no soccer moms get a hold of those intergalactic cable shows. Okay, wait, hold up. It's interdimensional cable. I wrote intergalactic. Let me fix that. Let's hope no soccer moms get their hands on those interdimensional cable shows. We already have enough problems with them on Earth. We don't need them in space! A little flat. Let's hope no soccer moms get their hands on those interdimensional cable shows. We already have enough problems with them on Earth. We don't need them in space. Really, it's just random stoner humor like something you'd find in Adventure Time. Random and weird, random and weird. I don't even think they wrote a script for this. And I thought that Adult Swim could sink no lower. This is just ridiculous. Whatever happened to the days where you could turn on the TV and see something like Space Ghost Coast to Coast or Aqua Teen Hunger Force? Is this really the kind of crap that Adult Swim is showing people these days? No wonder adults are watching kids shows, because adult shows are like this. And here we go. Here's that other reference to the part 5 I told you about earlier. But I shouldn't be surprised that Rick and Morty is popular. Yeah, it's popular. Who would have thought? Anyways, it makes sense that Rick and Morty is popular because we live in a world where this is actually a board game. It's a game where all a dog does is take a crap. Why? Why is this real? I remember when I saw this on a commercial and I thought it was a joke. I thought today's society wouldn't be stupid enough to make a game like this. Okay, here we go. Right close up to the mic. Well, I was too kind to think that. And then the joke goes on and on, but I'm gonna cut it here because I don't want to steal too much. See, it's stuff like this that makes me really worry for the future of entertainment. I mean, seriously, What the truck is wrong with everybody? And now I have to talk about... Okay, I'm gonna try that again. And now I have to talk about the fans. These fans are crazy. Remember that whole Szechuan sauce thing that happened at McDonald's? Yep, you can thank Rick and Morty for that. There was this one guy who jumped on the counter screaming, "I'm Pickle Rick! I'm Pickle Rick!" What the duck is this hippo spit? Then you have all these people online who think that they're, quote, intellectuals because they watch this show. Watching cartoons doesn't make you a genius. With all the amount of Looney Tunes I watch, you would think I'd be Einstein if that was true. And if any of you out there are getting mad at me and saying that I shouldn't take Rick and Morty on, well then that's your problem. This is my show. I could rant on rocks if I wanted to. So you parasprites had better leave me alone. And again, I think I know what a parasprite is after doing a little bit of research. I always kind of wondered what that was when you brought it up every so often, especially in the Ben Strikes Back video. And now I hope you understand why I don't like Rick and Morty. And I really hope that with Justin Roiland leaving the show, this could mean that Rick and Morty's gonna get smarter. But I don't hold out much hope. I'm Trevor, and I'm signing out. I'm gonna get my hands on a hamburger horseshoe. Hula girls! There we go. 2 references in 1. So normally, I'm normally against, haha, funny because it's a reference humor. That is normally something I'm really against. That's one of the reasons why, a lot of pop culture-y stuff doesn't really click with me, I guess you could say. But the whole thing with this, basically the joke is just kind of over-exaggerating what Ben would say, but also in quoting him, I would bring up the fact that the Ben the Looney character, I guess you could call, because he would always say that Ben the Looney was a character. And this is the day before Ben T. Looney and Neb and the crazy guy and all that. Sometimes you don't need to build on what he said, because it was already gold. And my thing here is, the whole point of this video, while yes, it's mostly meant to satirize Ben Rants, it's also kind of poking fun at some of the cartoon reviewers from back in 2012 to 2014 in general. It was a primitive wasteland back then, wasn't it? Full of interesting characters and oddly worded phrases. So I want it to work on its own right. So if you know who Ben is, you'll go, hey, yeah, that's a callback there, and haha, isn't this funny? Because, it's kind of exaggerating what Ben did, but also using what Ben said to make an even more exaggerated caricature. But at the same time, for those of you who aren't familiar with Ben, it's just funny because it's creating a character who's saying really weird things and clearly has not seen much of the show. And this is fitting. Actually, this is why I picked Rick and Morty. For one, I don't think Ben's ever spoken about it. He kind of stopped talking about cartoons once Ben Rants ended. But in general, I don't really think he's spoken that much about it, if at all. And also, it's easy for me to get things wrong about it because not only have I not really actively watched Rick and Morty, I haven't seen these episodes since college, so I'm going off memory. I do want to get into Rick and Morty, though. Like I said, it's not really my thing, but I think it's something that if I really buckled down and got into the story, I'd get pretty invested. Besides, my girlfriend and I need another show to watch now that we're running out of Bob's Burgers episodes. So, yeah, if you guys think it's good, let me know, and I might give it a shot. No character quests on it, though. It's kind of already been done. And then another reason, real quick before I go, that I made this is because I've actually been kind of going through some of Ben's stuff even before I had this idea. Because every so often, because I was a really big fan of Ben and he was a part of my teenage life, I guess you could say, every so often I'll find myself thinking, man, what is he up to? And then it would take me down memory lane. I was actually talking with Ian from the Moral Oral video that we did together, the Hated Episodes video. Same guy who did the Game Dude documentary. Anyways, I was telling him a little about Ben and sent over some of the videos, and one thing led to another, and now I ended up making this. It was fun, and it was kind of a nostalgia trip. So, yeah, Ben, if you're watching this, and you just might be, considering that, from what I can tell, you often tend to find videos that are made in reference to you, I just want to say that, aside from any of the controversies or whatever, I just want to say, even if the videos weren't exactly professional or objectively well made, I want to thank you for giving me and thousands of other people a lot of inspiration to make our own shows, and really just someone to rally behind during that crazy Wild West era of internet reviews. One thing, if any of you out there who know me well can pick up on the people that I like, if there's one common factor, it's that I like people who have a lot of personality in their content, like Pie Guy Rules, who has since left the internet, or Rowdy C from TV Trash, Andre Black Nerd, Stuart Ashen, Isle of Rangoon, even if they're playing characters. And looking back, I actually think that's why I got into Ben. Okay, that sounded weird, but you know what I mean. That's why I started liking his content, even from an early age. I liked it when people weren't just reading from a bland script and they put a little bit of themselves into their work. And Ben sure did. He talked a lot about his upbringing, his interests, his inspirations, what things annoyed him about the modern era, even if some of those things he went back on years later, most notably Adventure Time, Regular Show, and the Looney Tunes Show from what I can see. He was able to give things a bit of a flair. So again, even if the videos weren't exactly great, they're still kind of fun to watch to this day because, I don't know, it's just kind of a personality thing. It's different from all the other kinds of reviewers you would see back in the day where they'd try either too hard to make a character or they wouldn't try hard enough. And that was another thing. I'm getting way off track here, and I probably should stop it by now considering that the script is long since over. But you know what? You got me monologuing here. It's the syndrome thing. It's a syndrome, if you will. Going back down memory lane. No matter how hard Ben would try to push that he was always a character from the start, it was only slightly exaggerated from who he really was. So, yeah, you could kind of buy the character thing, but at the same time, you wouldn't have any trouble believing that this is Ben. Of course, he's presenting himself differently because you don't present yourself the same way online that you do in real life. I mean, if Ben just walked up to somebody on the street and said, "Welcome back to Ben Rants, and when I was a kid," that'd be weird. People don't do that. And if any of you want me to talk about, some of the controversies he got himself into in 2016, 17, 18, whenever that was, no, I'm not dwelling on that here. I'm just focusing on the happy times, the first run of Ben Rants. Because that's really when I watched him growing up. I kind of fell away. Man, when did I fall away? It was towards the end. I think I stopped watching right around the time Ben Rants was over. I did catch the finale, actually, just out of pure chance. I think what caused me to stop watching was, one, I was kind of growing up. Because I was a huge fan. I don't want to understate it. I would try to shape my opinions to be like his. And that's part of the reason why I made that Garbage Pail Kids video, what was that, a year ago, 2 years ago? Because forming your opinions based on what an internet personality says, no matter how much you like them or you might naturally agree with them anyways, that can be dangerous. You need to have a brain of your own, you're an individual. Also, I think I was just generally kind of disagreeing with the way he took his show, kind of adding more skits and characters, and yeah, looking back, they were a little rough, but also I think it was just a little too different from what I wanted. That's not Ben's fault. If he wanted to try something new, he should try something new. Simple as that. It's his show. But again, it was just different from the reason that I kind of latched onto him. And of course, now that I'm an adult and I have my own individuality, I can kind of look back and go, wow, I remember this. I remember thinking this, but in actuality, deep down, I had this other side opinion that I didn't really acknowledge. Being a young teenager, like 11, 12, 13, or... No, it wasn't 13, was it? No way. Probably like 12 was as old as I was or something. I don't know. I'll have to look back at the years. I actually guess maybe, yeah. Okay, anyways, this doesn't matter. But the point is, growing up during those times is kind of weird. You know, it's middle school, you're going through pubertà, and generally speaking, you don't know where your life is going. So that's where you kind of find some people online to rally behind and try to be more like. I've noticed one or two people at least in the comments of my videos doing the same, and as long as you're not, crossing a line and changing who you are just to be more like me, I mean, sure, yeah. But again, be yourself, because you are special. And I think I've talked enough now, because I'm starting to sound like an 80s after school special. So, anyways, I'm Trevor, I'm signing out. I don't know what I'm gonna do next. I guess get ready for Versus the Network Part 3, which is coming out tomorrow. Oops, did I say that? Oh dear. I accidentally let it slip.